It's up there on the highway going from Rossville, Georgia to Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. There's this old abandoned bomb shelter. It's right next to one of these power stations like this, actually. See what it is? That bay up there at Fort Oglethorpe is named Fort Oglethorpe because it actually used to be a fort, a military fort. Wow. They trained women there during World War II. They had men there at one point training. I went to that old bomb shelter and, well, I didn't see that images. I can just tell there's a homeless man squatting in there at one point. Yeah. But it's actually pretty interesting just because if you look at the old Mothman stories, where's it usually at? Around those old abandoned bunkers. Right, exactly. And there was a Mothman sighting a long, long time ago, according to my great-grandpa, before he died, he related to me, of Mothman being around Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. Wow. And that's pretty much what got me interested in doing that one. So, I went up there, I didn't see no signs of Mothman evidence. Of course, I've not done enough research on Mothman to know what to look for. I mostly focused on Bigfoot. I did a chupacabra investigation in my neck of the woods. So, the bunker is about, you park right in front of the power station. You walk about to the right of it. Do not touch that fence unless you want the shock of your life. Trust me. I tested that theory. But you walk about a quarter of a mile into the woods, just stay straight the whole time, just start seeing the remnants of an old base there. Dang. But now what's more interesting, I actually found the old way the barracks used to be in the battlefield, for when that used to be a military fort. Yeah. And that's amazing to go, because you can actually still see the floor plan where the barracks used to be, the washrooms, where the shower, you can still see where everything was, because the stone slabs are still there and some of the walls are still partly there just from all this time. Yeah. So, yeah, that's why they call it Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, because it used to be a military U.S. military fort. It's really cool. Where did you do your Bigfoot seminar at? I did that out in Ringgold, Georgia, at the Ringgold Library. I was supposed to do another one for them, but I got sick and had to cancel, which kind of sucked because I was looking forward to it. And oh hey, look, Mothman Bridge. But yeah, basically they asked me to do an introduction to cryptozoology. So what I told them, cryptozoology is not just going out in the woods and looking for evidence. You gotta study the history of the area, both white and Native American. Yep. Look at the folklore. Look at old newspaper articles to see if there's had anything spotted weird in the area. This is really cool. I mean, there's a lot more to the cryptozoology than just going out in the woods. That is very true. It actually takes work. I hate to put it that way, but it's really like a second job. You just ain't getting paid. You're doing a public service. Little waterfall. Yeah. Baby trickles. Actually, that water would be safe to drink. Right there coming off that waterfall. We'll love to see this after a rainstorm, you know? Yeah, but you tell it moss, that's a natural filter for stuff you don't want in your body. Yep. Sorry about the little survival train, guys. I'm ex-military. Survival train is part of who I am. It's part of who it is. That's part of outdoors and Bigfoot and cryptozoology all together. Hey, see these trees here? Those are edible for Bigfoot. Sometimes it produces a fruit. It makes a pawpaw like a pawpaw fruit. Yeah, I've heard a lot of pawpaw in their feces. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Chestnuts too, or acorns. I've heard kitty litter, frozen dong from porta potties. Yeah. And in cold places, of course. Oh hey. Hey, this is a flint. That's awesome. That's flint, boy. That's a big wall. Would be cool if we saw some petroglyphs in it. Yeah, would be. I swear I'd be pointing them out and studying them. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, but look at this. The thing about flint, you can actually make a knife out of this if you don't have one on you. It's called flint napping, which is something I know how to do. So if I'm ever dumb enough to walk out in the woods without my knife, I can just make one. Right. Now, look here, what I find interesting. Look at this. Yeah, look at this hole. Now that, I can tell you what that was probably at one point. This is obviously used to be a main trail. Yeah. That used to be a trail marker, I bet you, because nature does not make that perfect of a circle. I just saw something moving there, so I'm not sticking my finger in there. Probably some spiders. Bye-bye. I'm kidding. That's funny. Now, these trees, these little pine trees, sometimes when they get them small enough, the right size, they start producing the pine cones. You can eat the nuts out of them pine cones.
Yep.
And let me tell you, that leaf though, you boil that, makes a heck of a good tea.
There's an orange bucket down there.
Yep. Yep, definitely. Now check his setup out. That's a homemade setup if I've ever seen one. That's a hillbilly rigging. That's a MacGyver rig. The only reason I keep looking at the rock wall because you never know when you might find something that could point to Native American finding something out here.
Yeah, carving.
Yeah, or even something Bigfoot may have done.
Yep.
Because this area used to be Cherokee land right here where we're at now. And I firmly believe that they understood the Cherokee language so well they could probably speak it themselves.
Definitely.
So that's why I'm working on learning Cherokee. I've got a book that teaches the alphabet. I'm trying to find some place to learn the speaking language, the spoken language of it.
And you know, 50 years with Bigfoot from the Carter farm, Janice, you know, they had pages worth of Bigfoot word translations.
Yeah, I know. I'm still trying to find, you know, like that part in the book online.
Yeah.
But
oh, Zach.
Hey, whoa. And now, hell, boy, there's something that was carved into the moss. That's just.
Yeah, that ain't too old.
Apparently went like that. With their finger.
We found it though.
Now I'll tell y'all something else. If you're in the bush and you gotta, you know, take some relief, here's the best thing to wipe with.
Yeah, ferns.
Yeah. That is that is nature's toilet paper right there, folks.
Classic.
That's a good piece of flint right there.
That'd be cool to find a fossil in.
Actually, no, it's just a regular old piece of flint, no fossil in it.
I think it could be for Bigfoot to like eat it in.
Yeah. This would be cool if the water was raging too.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Yeah.
Is anyone else getting some Major League Deliverance vibes right now?
I really hope
Yeah, definitely out here.
That's why I gave it a watch, that movie.
Oh, I love that movie. The gold guitar, the hillbilly guitar kid.
Yeah.
He, of course, couldn't play guitar, so they had someone's arms go behind him and play. It was a good camera trick. Cherokee National Forest.
That wasn't a guitar, it was a banjo.
Yeah, it was a banjo. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. The banjo is definitely more country.
Hey, if you get banjo, harmonica, and fiddle, you got a band, homie.
Yeah. Dang, that looks wild.
Oh, whoa, hold up, Connor. You can definitely see where something was dug out in there.
Yeah.
You can see the claw marks.
Might have been a bear was digging
a bear
for something.
cub.
Yep.
Because you can tell from the size, that wasn't no full-grown black bear. That was a bear cub.
Wow.
This is why you need a hillbilly on your group, because they know the woods. Ain't that right, Connor?
Oh yeah. It's a nice little teamwork. We got the 4 musketeers right here.
And plus you got armed security. True?
Yep. Rick's got a machete, you got the gunpowder.
I also got this.
Yeah, no one wants to mess with that.
And I'm trained with both things. Oh, don't smack me. And if we get lost, I guarantee I can get a good fire going with this torch lighter. Get a signal fire going, hey! Said about 5 feet apart in the space of 3, that's a sign of needing help.
Yeah. Do a back cam.
Huh?
Do a back cam, Scott Carpenter style, see if anything's closing in on us.
Well, you know what you ought to do? Where you can film in front and behind?
Yeah.
Have a mirror set up where you can film both of you.
That'd be dope.
I mean, that's what's why I heard I can't remember the name. That's when I first started getting into you know, cryptozoology. This one guy did. He set up his trail cameras, but then about a foot in front of him, he set up mirrors to show what's going on behind the trail camera.
That's the best way to get them too. I know MK Davis has broken down a lot of the mirror footage.
You can tell there's been a washout right here. Look at this.
Yeah, coming down.
So look down here, you can see more of the signs of it being a washout.
Yep.
Ooh, watch your footing, guys. You don't want to break an ankle. You really easily can right there.
This is cool.
Look at all the soft stones.
Yeah.
We might be able to find like a geode or something.
Should have brought my hammer. See?
Yeah, break it open.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could just smash it against another one, you know? I'm looking for fossils and like watches and jewelry. Because it'll get wedged in between stuff, you know?
Actually, if you go off on that corner, it'd be closer toward the center there.
Yeah.
Where the all the rafting needs to go through here. Ooh. Look at snot, and I ain't lying. Oh, if I did the splits there, that would have hurt. I'm not that limber.
Mountains. It's so awesome. Yeah, some kind of clicking.
There's this little space over here.
Right where the trail will take us.
Yeah. We need to get back on the trail and go check that out.
So cool. Right here is a huge water moccasin snake skin. So we got to keep our eyes peeled.
You know what gives you away? It's a water mark.
And all these pits.
Look at the colorations. You can still make it out.
Yep, right at the edges.
That's a water mark. There's the tail right here. There's the head. That's a good shed too.
Yeah.
Hey, there's something metal over here. No,
that's what I thought that was, metal too, huh? That circle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled. We got water moccasins. Hey, there's where you need to watch out, especially right in here. Connor?
Yeah, the pits.
Yeah, right there.
How fresh is the skin look?
Very. It's still wet.
Yeah.
And it's still whole. So the current didn't carry it yet. I'd say within the past 24 hours. What do you think? What would you think, Connor?
Yeah, within the last 24 or 48.
Well, if it been 48, it wouldn't be as moist, even if it been this close to the water.
You're right.
It's got water marks on it.
Oh, that's really cool.
Water.
Yeah.
Right here would be a good spot for swimming. Right here, boys.
So tell them what you could find, you know, just being in that little section is actual running water section.
I don't know. I think Michael might be Carl.
I can see that.
And then Tristan. I can see him being Herschel. Looking out for everybody and his time comes.
He gets me hit by the yonder.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Hey, that's the maple saplings right there. A lot of good food possibilities in here. Especially right here. Now these weeks over there on the trail.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's right there. Yeah, there it is. Looks like hey, it looks like it kind of carries on that way though.
Yeah, loops around.
No, look through here. You look careful, looks like that's one of the group. It looks like this looks up, buddy.
This is dense, that's for sure. Amazing terrain.
Look at that big piece of quartz.
Yeah.
Hey, who was the clutch quartz?
Yeah. Can carry this rock too.
We found a giant piece of quartz for you.
Crystal, yeah.
Or salt rock.
Wait a minute. I remember a story about Bigfoot and these big crystal-sized rocks.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was on one of your shows.
Yeah, there's definitely a link between supernatural energy and these crystals. A lot of people go missing in the boulder fields.
Yeah, again,
Quartz fields. Yep.
Hey, you have a copy of his book about the Smoky Mountain area? And the general Appalachian area?
Sadly, no. But Steve Stockton sent me his missing person. Oh yeah.
That's a dog.
I don't know. I think that's bear. Dog eating.
Hold on a second. I'll tell you.
Eating the berries.
I'll tell you. That's not eating beans. That's a dog eating chili.
Really?
Or a person took a dump. You can see the beans in there clearly. And just because we're up right that way from the road don't mean you keep it. You don't worry about snakes. It's so close to the water to worry.
Yep. This rock wall is pretty awesome.
Wait a minute. No, so we got one up there, but we have to go worry about mountain lions out here.
That's a cool little seating area.
Wait a minute, y'all. Check this. Started camping right here. Got a fire right here. Radiate that heat right back to them. They got the water source right down there.
Perfect spot.
Right into the world camping.
Keeps you out of the rain too.
Well, depending on which way the rain coming from.
Yeah, you're right.
Now we're starting to go. I think this trouble makes up with the other one you come up on.
It might.
Yeah, cause look. Oh, whoa, whoa.
These are cool strips.
That's marble inside granite. Like marble and granite do form together.
Another cool bridge.
Well, no big deal, guys. I'm keeping up with y'all young bucks, ain't
Yep. That's a cool bridge.
Oh, hey, what's this one here? Compared to everywhere else. I just that cool breeze feeling it.
Yeah.
That could be either paranormal stuff, or it could be because you can see the water trickling through. The wind gets trapped in this gully right here. So there's a scientific explanation and a possible paranormal connection, because if you know anything about spirits, what happens when you're around spirits?
It's cold. Cold breeze.
And how much Cherokee land is supposedly haunted?
Most of it.
98%. We're on Cherokee land.
Yeah, we are.
And literally, this is the next land that's still owned by a Cherokee. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
way. Probably not ball. Bring it down. I punched it all the way up there and took it ball.
Yeah, but I'm not going up there by myself to find out, and
I'm not saying we're going with that, but no.
Now, if someone wanted to go with me over this damn thing and check it out, any volunteers?
No volunteers.
Yeah, I think it's straight over.
See, I'm the crazy guy. I will take the unblazed trail to find out stuff.
Hey, you gotta. It's all of us in the Goon squad right here. We got Michael from Force of Monsters. We got Greg from the Tennessee Mountains. Yeah, Backwoods Cryptids. Definitely check him out. And of course, my homie Tristan from Hidden Relief. And right now, some of the group is at Expedition Bigfoot Museum. Some people are sleeping.
Some went to get some food.
Some went to get food. Some went to the liquor stove.
I should go with him because I like my whiskey.
I like the whiskey. Late night drinking.
But
Connor, do you drink even?
Oh yeah.
What's your choice of poison, brother?
I'm Irish, man.
I'm Irish. Yeah, I just drink.
He drinks
But we
know
did. We're just drinking a hot cocoa and water in our cups right at the National Forest, right, guys?
Yeah.
apple juice. And,
Oh, don't forget my Mountain Dews.
And Mountain Dews and Powerade.
no
Pepsi.
diet Pepsis.
Oh wow. Hey.
This is really cool right
Hey,
here, guys.
let's walk up here a little bit.
Step down a little bit.
Hey Connor, here's a good view right here.
Go in the bridge, see the pressure.
What kind of troll?
Yeah, troll under the bridge.
Actually, at that point, I'd go into combat mode. Check this out.
Yeah, it's a beautiful waterfall.
Yeah. Tell you what, give me a camera. I'm gonna get you a better view since you got those on. I got these waterproof ones on. All right, guys, check that view out. Now that is nature, pure nature at its finest, right there, folks.
It is. It's beautiful. Yeah. Just think how much has trickled down over the centuries.
Yeah. Okay, Connor, give them your thoughts on all this.
This is just magical. And every time we come to one of these gaps where the water just lays out, you can just feel the cold air, feel like we're meant to be. And this has been a long time coming. I visualized this. Me, Greg, Rick, Tristan, we're out and about doing it. I'm just in awe because it's a dream come true.
Now think back. Think back to all your fantasy movies. Tell you this, man, give you some more of the Ring vibes, brother.
This invites you in, man. It's like Bridge to Terabithia, The Hobbit, all mixed with the other new world, man. It's magical.
The Merlin miniseries.
Yep. It's coming back, man. Yes.
Trees that hollow out underneath like this
fairy mounds
are considered fairy mounds. Yeah, like houses for fairies or communities for fairies.
That's awesome.
Hey, does anyone got one of those little quartz crystals with them?
I don't have a small one. I don't think it's got a big
You know
one.
what I'm thinking, right? A gift.
Yeah. We got a couple.
Because if this truly is a fairy mound, according to like old folklore, even the Cherokee talks about the forest people, the little people.
Yep.
That they dwelled in these. You leave them a little.
This one's a really good one too.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
Leave this as a gift.
Yeah.
To give you good luck in the forest.
I love it. It's meant to be for all four of us.
Put it right here in the mouth of it. There's y'all gift. May we find what we're looking for out here. Maybe y'all give us a hand.
Thank you.
Bridge goes around there. Yeah, why don't you go ahead for that?
Dang, this is awesome. Would be really cool if the water was raging right now.
It does continue all the way around.
Yeah, look at that guy. Look, is he with his dog straight ahead? You see him?
Oh.
In the red?
Oh, I see him now. Yeah, he's walking across the thing. He's on like that side.
Yeah.
I don't like this bridge right here, man. This is
Oh, that's right. So
They're scared of heights. Oh man. I used to be scared of heights too. Well, I think that was worth the hike right there, honestly. That little just like overhang thing, that was really cool.
looking down and being able to see.
Oh, here's some more water.
Where the water coming from. Some more water right there.
Yeah.
That'd probably be if there's any trout, they'd be in that spot right there.
Yup, right in the deep hole.
Magnet fishing.
Yeah, should have brought it. But as you saw, we didn't see anything metal. Me and Greg saw something round that we thought was metal, but it wasn't.
It's not that deep. Yeah, looks like it's safe to come on up. I don't see any bear sign.
That is cool though. Here, film me going down under.
All right, buddy, Connor. He tired of campsite, so he's just gonna bed down here for the night.
This would be a perfect place to
Good
sleep. Just some good spider friends. Love it.
Yeah, put your fire right there.
Think how many people have slept under this right here.
Probably good
Probably a
enough.
handful. And some animals.
Yeah, because you can smell the animals been here. You feel that little musky smell you hear?
Yeah.
That's bear.
I'm looking for bones.
There might be if the boneyard's here. It won't be right here at the cave, man. It's too. It's not a deep enough cave. But Connor, your battery's at 28%, brother.
It's getting there. Other people. We're feeling feral.
I'm gonna walk the rest of the way back this way.
I'm not. That'll take way too long.
Yeah, no, it takes forever.
Be kind. I love that. It says it right over there. Be kind.
What? Be kind. Ollie? That's what it says, Ollie. Well, we made it through that part of the adventure.
Yeah.
You.
Oh, me?
Like a spider.
Here's a really cool VW bus with the top pop up. Now that is a dream come true. Plus, it's Cleveland Browns colors. Amazing. And Artemis is saying hello.
Hey, girl, we're back.
What's up, Artie? Yeah. Look, girl.
Oh, wait, she's all right. She's not violent. Come on.
Hey, bud.
Come here, girl. Hey, this is Connor. Say hi.
Yeah, hey.
She's more excited to see me, ain't she?
Oh, yeah. Good pop. Yeah, Artie. Yeah. Good girl.
She'll
Sweet
charge.
girl.
She'll blow.
Here's the tent setup at the Manimal Research Squatch Out here in East Tennessee. They got a lot of their cool relics, stickers. John's book right here too. Psychological Horizons in Scientific Bigfoot Research. Really cool to see. So last year camped with him, got the lowdown. Now it's really cool to see it in print. And Sasquatch Odyssey podcast. This is Brian's show. Very, very cool. I just recently had an episode. I met him at the Gatlinburg conference. It was very cool. It's got some pins, stickers, very fairly priced. And we got the Panhandle Pirates. Super excited.
First off, thanks everybody for taking the time to come out and hang out with us in the cold mid-October. I think, you know, just like last year, it speaks a lot to the passion that's in this community. It really does. For people to get together in cold weather like this and camp for multiple days. Last year was 3 days. This year was 2 days. For people to put the money and the time and the effort to come in and do stuff like this, I think it says a lot. It speaks not only, you know, to the subject, but the kind of people that are interested in the subject. You know, just good-hearted people. I really do feel. So again, thank you guys for doing it. My name's Wayne. Most of you know I am the founder and the president of Manimal Research.
founded it back in 2019 with, one goal, and that was to do our part to help prove that these things are real, that Sasquatch is real. And we've done some pretty cool things, some interesting things, found some stuff out, made some great friends. Really had a lot of you are here today. Some of the best people I've ever known, I've met through this community right here. That's the truth. Some of those guys are going to be coming up here and talking tonight. Actually, I'm really excited about the gentleman that we have coming up talking tonight. We're going to get things started off with Mr. Connor Flynn, Bigfoot Anon.
Quick little recap of who I am. Connor Flynn. I started off as a writer for my high school newspaper, the Devilier. I was the head sports editor and wrote a bunch about the local sports scene, and I was just tired of it. And I pushed the boundaries, and I was an MMA writer as well. We went to all these fights, and I got in hot water, almost expelled one time because we talked. I wasn't promoting anything bad, but we were talking about a fight, MMA fight, and there was like a riot in the crowd, and we said that drinks were pouring and punches were being thrown, and we were painting the picture of the night. And they thought we were like promoting underage drinking and brought us in. And ever since that, I've had a chip on my shoulder for censorship because, they've always just been trying to gun me down and trying to change my story. So I'm here to tell my story, and it might come out sloppy, slippery, stuttery, but it's me. But it's a wild adventure. It started in Brunswick, Ohio, right around the corner from 3 really paranormal spots. And on our Friday nights, instead of like going and spending money, we would go and hang out at these free places and bring girls and get them scared, and so they'd hold on to us. But it was a little triangle, and it was 3 spots. One was the Crybaby Bridge, which we've all heard the story of Crybaby Bridges. It's the woman can't care for the child, and the whole family is scorning her, and she's pressured, and she has to give up the baby. And in this particular one, it's a railroad bridge about 50 feet up, and it's right next to a satanic church and right by a graveyard that you have to walk through. And there's many ways you can attack it. You can park underneath, and it will push your car, and you'll hear whispers, and your car won't start. Or you can climb through the graveyard, through the woods, and walk on top of the bridge, and it's about 50 feet up, and it's a railroad bridge, so if the train's coming, you better jump off. But we had crazy activity then, and it's really cool looking back now, because like now I seek that stuff out, and before it was just happening. And that's who I am. I am just in tune with nature. I might be a little sloppy and wild, one with the hippie style, but I rely on vibrations and frequencies and manifestation. And now I see my whole journey has been that. I just a kid from Ohio, and it brings me all the way down to Florida, and I met so many great people, and now I'm right down the street from meccas of skunk ape areas, and I just look back and I'm like, wow, it was all mapped out by the stars. But back to the Haunted Triangle, you got the Crybaby Bridge, and then there's another one called the Witch's Ball. It was this huge granite ball that was hot when it was cold, cold when it's hot, and it's about this woman. And all 3 of these stories are very similar. They interchange. They're about a woman that was pressured and had to do really bad things. But the Witch's Ball, her whole family was scorning her because she was pregnant by a man, not married, and so she ended up buying a bunch of arsenic, and she wiped out like 14 members of her family. And it was pretty crazy. She had enough arsenic to kill the whole city. So if she conquered, I would not be having this speech right now, I'm sure my ancestors were somewhere there, it's all fun. But she is buried under this granite stone, and she was a witch. So they say in October the witchy vibe is really strong. And my friend Billy, his dad lived across the street from the graveyard, so we had an inside look pretty much all October. And we'd find people like us that were seeking occult magics, and I don't know if they were witches or just paranormal investigators of the early 2000s, before the internet. But it was always very wild, just because that was just so magical and so scary of a story, but it was just right around the corner. It was just an average Friday for us. So I feel like it paved my way. The third and final one was the sketchiest. It was Irma's house, which is this abandoned house at the end of a road. You have to park and walk like a mile under the trees along Rocky River, right by the Crybaby Bridge. It's all really close. But Irma's house is she went mad and she killed her family in the cellar where you have to enter the house, and then she went up and in the attic she hung herself. And you got to go through the cellar to get through the house, and when the middle floor there's a bunch of letters, like Christmas letters. It's so cool because you could read letters addressed to this girl that, you know, killed people. It's really, really wild. And there's a bunch of occult graffiti and people do, you know, satanic worship there. But I have some crazy pictures that the orbs are like following us and like bigger than my head. And you know, orb pictures, it's one way or the other. It's not compelling sometimes, but these ones were all different colors and very, very watery. And I'm big on the waters above and the waters below. We're all made out of water, so I'm big on orbs are just the connection between all of us. But that little trio of spots really just raised me into like who I was supposed to be. And right down the street was a place called Helltown, which is a really famous mythical place, but it's a real place. It's like the real life Silent Hill and the real life Resident Evil. And that's when things got really crazy with the Grassman. Ohio Grassman is the Ohio Bigfoot, and I'm big on the Bigfoot is our ancestor, is the ancient man. I'm big on the sun worshippers and the mound builders. I've narrated over 10 hours of these newspaper articles of bodies 6 foot tall all the way up to 60 feet tall, but here in America it's about 6 to 15 feet. They find them in semicircles covered in copper and gold and other rare compounds that they would find in the land, and they would be in these rock chambers, and some of them had horns, and we don't hear about any of that. And Abraham Lincoln has a really good quote about how the species or the race of giants was here before Niagara Falls was flowing. Or Niagara Falls, you guys get it. But he combined Niagara Falls and the giants. And Honest Abe, I'm gonna follow him. One day in Middle Earth, hopefully we're all sipping from the fountain of youth and we're in a circle with like Jimi Hendrix and stuff, and I'll ask him. But I love touching into the historical side of it. We'll stay on the presidents for a second. Theodore Roosevelt. We've heard stories of him being a Bigfoot hunter, but we've all heard the story of Trapper Bowman and being kidnapped by him. But there's a bunch of different takes on it that maybe Theodore Roosevelt wrote one of these stories about being kidnapped in a third person just because he didn't want to tarnish his future career. So one of our presidents was a Bigfoot hunter and may have even been kidnapped by Bigfoot. So again, you know, I have videos of Bigfoot driving. Ninja Dave, you know, I have videos of Bigfoot driving a truck on my phone, guys. So Grisha, you know, Igor Bergstaff, he's a scientist, he's a doctor. This is all above us, guys. But there's footage of Bigfoot driving a truck out there. So when people say there's no evidence, there's none of this, it drives me nuts. I'm ready to fight, you know, because I feel like my journey has tried to enlighten all this. One of my favorite stories, I'm going to be bouncing all around, guys. I'm trying to keep track. But my favorite story that I feel like my journey has brought me to, I lived Ohio down to Lakeland, lived out in my car, joined a punk rock musical band, took the passenger seat out, built a bed, stayed at dodgy places, but it all brought me right by Ocheesee Pond. 10 miles away, 1873, the wildman was captured down the panhandle of Florida. And it is a remarkable story. It was on the front page of the New York Times. It was on a couple radio shows during those times, but no one wants to talk about it. It's not on Finding Bigfoot. It's not Expedition Bigfoot. Sasquatch Chronicles hasn't talked about it. So I think it's my duty because I live right there. I still remember the first time I was pulling off the exit. I'm like, where the hell did my mom just move? Like, there's nothing out here. But now I realize I'm right by Ocheesee Pond. But 1873, this wild man creature was harassing women and children at the swamp village. So Native American gatherers and Civil War veterans teamed together and surrounded this creature in a location called the Devil's Half Acre. David Politis told us the devil's in the details. It's all over. But the Devil's Half Acre is where the creature was captured, and then they sent it all the way to the capital, to Tallahassee. And the governor said, "No way. Send them to Chattahoochee Hospital." And Chattahoochee Hospital, for you film buffs, I know you, Gary Oldman made a movie called Chattahoochee, and he was a veteran, and he was poorly treated, experimented on, and it was roughly based on a true story. So imagine what they did to this wild man John Doe creature. for 3 years. But they said they kept him there for 3 years, and sadly he passed away, and they buried him. And I've been told multiple takes. I've been told that he was buried with the Native American prison camp, Andrew Jenkson's prison camp, and then they put a building on top of him. And I've been told he was far out in the woods by the golf course. My good buddy Jack McClellan is the head IT guy of Chattahoochee Hospital and lives there now on campus, and that's an inside line. So I've spent nights there. I have filmed both the building where he might be under, and also deep underground military bases, domes, for the people that are really deep into it. But yes, I have, and they threatened him too. They threatened Jack about releasing the footage too. So the footage will come out when he's done with the hospital. But guys, 1873, 1874, Yochisi Pond wildman was captured, taken to Chattahoochee Hospital, experimented on. They had files of him, and I hope he's still out there. Maybe I'm optimistic that maybe he escaped, or someone went rogue from the hospital. But there is tunnels that just go back out to the woods, so maybe. But I have a lot of friends that live on Yochisi Pond still to this day. And I've been told some crazy stories. I've been told there's this den. It's kind of like a cave, but we're in Florida, so it's like above and then inside. But 2 mummies have been found, and they're Native American mummies. I think a lot of these people are connected. The wildman, the feral people, the Native American, the Trail of Tears, the Hoopa Project. David Paulides wrote a book recently about in the 1900s in the Hoopa tribe in California. The Native Americans lived with the wildmen. We've been alive for this. Some of us have been alive for this, not me. But they during to current times. So I'm big on, guys, we are so close to these creatures. We have people, Janice Carter, that has touched Bigfoot, that has a divine relationship with Bigfoot. And we can't take that for granted. Like, we know that story, Most of the Bigfoot world has no clue about it. Luckily, Brian's done a good job in spreading it around on his podcast, and thank you, Wayne, and all that. I love those magical stories, the ones that people grew up with Bigfoot, touched Bigfoot, and now they have crazy superpowers. And I say it fun like that, but I think we all have superpowers. Deja vu, we've all felt it. Love, I hope some of us have felt it. Those who have kids, I know you guys feel when your child is, in pain or in danger. We're all divinely connected. And I'm also big on just electrons and vibrations, energy. And they come in 2 forms, guys. Particle form and wave form. And most of the time we're particle. 99% of the time we are solid particle form. But those true moments of being, we have the ability, we have the capability of turning into wave form. Now, I think it's going to take a long time for any of us to hit that. Probably just death, and then we'll go to the firmament, the dome above. But I think these beings...
We are ready to get it up, get going. This next presenter is a member of my group, Manimal Research. Not only is he a member, he is he's become one of my closest friends. Dr. John Baranchuk and I met about 1.5 years ago or so. He contacted me after hearing about the group from, I believe, one of his patients. And he contacted me and wanted some information about joining. And, the rest, as they say, is history. John, like I said, has become one of my very, very close friends. Very, very intelligent man. So let's give him our attention and let him get going. John, if you're ready, buddy, sure, come on up.
Thank you.
I was going to say, I don't know if you can stand.
Hey, my name is John Baranchuk. You'll notice, well, you can't see it down there. There's a PhD behind my name. One of the things I like about Bigfoot is Bigfoot doesn't discriminate on educational level. Doesn't matter whether you got a PhD, a master's, a bachelor's, high school dropout. I think Bigfoot represents a leveling field. So I try not to go heavily by the doctor title. Just call me John. And slide. So you gotta start every presentation with a joke. PhD, what does PhD stand for? Piled higher and deeper. Bullshit, okay? How many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
One, but the light bulb really has to want to change. So, you know, education doesn't matter, it's your commitment to the field. I want to thank Wayne, Manimal Research, Jasper for having me for this talk. I appreciate it. My disclosures are I do have a book for sale on Amazon. I have some copies here to sell at a discounted rate. I belong to Manimal Research, and I've attended about 16 BFRO expeditions and 2 Kentucky BFRO expeditions. Slide. Scientific Bigfoot research joke, emphasis on question mark. The policeman sees a drunk man searching for something under the streetlight and asks what the drunk has lost. He says he's lost his keys, and they both look under the streetlight together. After a few minutes, the policeman asks if he's sure he lost his keys there, and the drunk replies, no, that he lost them in the park. The policeman asks, why is he searching here? And the drunk replies, this is where the light is. Okay? In a lot of ways, this is what we're doing with Bigfoot research. We've got people like Dr. Krantz and Dr. Meldrum who have highlighted the importance of foot casts in identifying Bigfoot. We got, well, I'm blocking on the Sierra tapes.
Ron Moorhead.
Ron Moorhead to thank for putting us on to audio, okay? There are people out there, pillars in the community, who have shined the light on these key things that represent and Bigfoot and have been trying to be used to prove Bigfoot's existence. But in shining that light, I believe we've gotten so caught up in that we've stopped looking for the keys in the dark areas. There's keys laying all around. We're looking with trail cams, we're looking with audio recordings, personal experiences. We got to start shining the light in other areas than, not that there's anything wrong with where the light has been shined, but we got to try shining the light in some other areas to find Bigfoot and prove Bigfoot's existence. Slide, please. For your consideration, the eye sees only what the mind is prepared to comprehend. If you can't imagine it, you can't see it or achieve it. If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. A lot of people don't believe in Bigfoot. They're not going to be able to have a Bigfoot experience until they can comprehend the concept. Neil deGrasse, one of the biggest problems with the world today is that we have large groups of people who will accept whatever they hear on the grapevine just because it suits their worldview, not because it's actually true or because they have evidence to support it. The really striking thing is that if it wouldn't take much more effort to establish the validity of most of these cases, but people prefer reassurance rather than research. The way I view the research community right now is we've got the phenomenologists. I don't know about you, but I joined these groups because I want to have a Bigfoot experience. Yeah. And that's the most important thing to me. And then we've got the scientists. And I think we're frequently at war. If you'll hit we've got, I think, a lot of subjective phenomenological expeditions like you most typically go on. And it's blurred, but the little egg on the bottom is scientific expeditions. Very few people are doing true scientific expeditions that include experimentation in the field and that bring it the full cycle of the scientific method to data analysis and presentation. And my book promotes preparing yourself for Bigfoot expeditions and encounters by learning to recondition your fight-flight response. It's on automatic pilot, but you can gain control over it and learn to stay calm in the face of danger should you desire. And there are 2 or 3 chapters in my book dedicated to how you do that. And I actually have a script of my own stress inoculation experiences as an example of how you can use these techniques to learn to control your autonomic nervous system better. So we got to be able to stay calm and more objective, less bias in the face of an encounter. And I believe we need more knowledge. And that's the other part of my book. Scientific psychological concepts, how to use experimental design and statistics, because it's only through statistics that we'll ever be able to prove that Bigfoot exists scientifically. It's the only way to control for the biasing errors. Now, that doesn't mean that I think phenomenological research is trash. I think phenomenological research is very important because it serves as a foundation for where we need to shine the light, for where we need to do more scientific expeditions. Next slide. So what? Next slide. Okay, back up. Okay. How do you back up? Yeah, one more. No. Yeah, let's just keep it here. So I call this a model of the birth of a biased Bigfoot theory. We have a Class A or B sighting when we're out here. We have a stress response. If you've been learning to modulate your fight-flight reactions, there's going to be less bias in that stress response. If you've ever had a panic attack, if you've ever had a fight-flight response, you're not thinking very clearly during those times. Therefore, learning to control that fight-flight is important, because the stress response leads to a large bias window. We're fearful of our lives, okay? That creates bias, and then a belief is expressed as theory. And this is where we begin to break down in terms of the scientific method. There's no experiential hypothesis testing on the theory. It just becomes this idea. And then the next time we have that same experience, we attribute it to Bigfoot, confirmation bias. The thing about bias is, it doesn't mean that you got the wrong answer every time. You can be biased and still come up with legitimate data. Sometimes it's going to lead to a Class A sighting, sometimes it may not. This is taken from the BFRO main page, or page D. The use of subjective evaluation is what separates the legal perspective, the witness testimony, from the scientific perspective. Witness reports are considered anecdotal. I've been hearing lots of stories today. That's considered anecdotal evidence. It's considered anecdotal evidence by science mainly because they are not testable. Yet many scientists are wise enough to understand that an anecdotal evidence always precedes, it comes before and leads to the collection of scientific evidence. I'm skipping down. Thus, without the collection and evaluation of anecdotal evidence or indirect evidence, there would be no scientific discoveries at all. Sightings by themselves are not scientific evidence, but they are what lead to scientific evidence. The phenomenological perspective is the foundation for big scientific Bigfoot research, and we've got to begin to frame up that foundation by applying new technology and different ideas and thinking. So, if we can do that, I would hope we would kind of get closer to here, where there's a big overlap between the phenomenologic expeditions and the scientific expeditions. Heaven forbid, phenomenologists, experientialists get together with the scientists in the same expedition and join forces to try and enhance each other's research. And that, with a little bit of pure science and a little bit of pure phenomenologic, but we need more of an overlap between science and phenomenological research, and we need each other. This schism between the researchers that do scientific researchers, and the phenomenological researchers, there's hard feelings. We need to figure out to get a way to get past that so we can combine our efforts. Next slide. I knew it wasn't a mini-ort. I knew it was a dying lightning bug, but I'm the rookie investigator. I write it down. After I write it down, right at the same time, him and I looked down at the ground where the orb was absorbed into the earth, and the lightning bug lit up one more time in its death throes. Okay, so this is how we can influence each other, you know, in the juice of a expedition. Next slide. Incredulity bias. Can I take over for a bit, Rebecca?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I need to sit down because of a medical condition. Look for the Bigfoots in between the trees. Well, the trees can become the figure, or the trees can become the ground. And depending on which one is figure or ground, you may be able to see something that looks like a Bigfoot that's not actually a Bigfoot. That doesn't mean that it's not a Bigfoot. These are things we need to sort through and be aware of to eliminate as a possibility before we say, yeah, you saw a Bigfoot. Visual pareidolia, excuse me. Normal fire, but you can see the demon in the shape of the fire. Okay?
You can see faces and stuff.
Huh?
You can see faces and stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of people with fundamental religious beliefs saw this and said that it was a sign that the devil or a demon was responsible for things. Shots the faces on the moon. They look like faces or masks to me. They're just mounds of hills of material. Here's my favorite one. Find the Bigfoots. Let's go over it square by square. Is there a Bigfoot in this square?
Yes.
This square?
I'd say A3, the third one.
Here?
Yeah.
That almost looks like a, I think, dogman when I see that. Just pick out the squares where you think the Bigfoots.
Then there's a
are.
green face at B1. Yeah, right there, green face.
Yeah. This slide, by the way, is from Charlie Raymond, who runs expeditions out of Kentucky. They're all bogus. There's no Bigfoot in this picture. But if you look hard enough, eventually you'll find one, whether there's one there or not. Auditory illusions, I learned there's an expert in sound here. I just want to touch on these briefly. These are all computer generated.
I don't like to do that because I have too much respect for John, and he spoke about it a little bit, but I want to touch on it. John has been diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. He also has a tumor on his spine, and if you pray, ask that you please do that for John. Not only is the Bigfoot community better with him in it, I feel like the world is too. I'm not ready to lose my friend. So
that's too high a praise.
Keep him in your prayers, guys, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, we're going to take another probably 10 minutes or so, and then Brian's going to come up and close us out, okay?
Heck yeah.
Yep. Sasquatch Odyssey. And can't wait to get him up here and have him talk about, his life a little bit. Ex-police officer out of the city of Atlanta, turned podcaster. So y'all, let's make Mr. Brian feel welcome and welcome him.
I'll be way less energetic than Connor and way more educated than John, and I'll be brief. I want to thank Wayne first and foremost for inviting me here. I was glad to get the invite. Wayne has become a friend of mine. I've had him on the show. We've had great discussions. We've had some disagreements, which is what I think makes us the best of friends. I like to disagree with my friends, so a lot of people have asked me that have come up, and a lot of you may not listen to the show. If you don't, check it out. I do 4 full-time shows. I'll tell you a little bit about what I do now and then what I used to do. We'll kind of work backwards. I am a full-time podcaster. I do the Sasquatch Odyssey podcast. I do a Paranormal Odyssey podcast and a True Crime Odyssey podcast. And I just started a 4th show with a good friend of mine, Doug Hychek. He has a show, Untold Radio AM, that he does with one of his sons. It's a nationally syndicated show. And he also has a YouTube channel, and there's about 8 of us now that have shows on this YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked out Doug's show, Untold Radio AM on YouTube, check it out. My show is called Weird Encounters, and I do a lot of reading stories, and I also interview some folks. I've had a couple of interviews in the last couple of weeks, so more interviews coming. It's a little bit different than what I do on the Sasquatch Odyssey. Sasquatch Odyssey is all about the encounters. If you've listened to the show, you know it's about the people on the show. I try to talk as little as possible, so this is a little weird for me. I open up the show and then I turn it over to the people. Connor was an amazing guest on the show recently. If you haven't heard Connor's episode, there's about an hour and a half of what you got tonight, so go check that out. It was a couple of weeks ago. Wayne's been on there a couple of times. We've talked about the Janice Carter story over there, so check out the show. Hopefully, if you listen to it and you enjoy it, thank you. If you've not checked it out, go check it out and listen. I hope you enjoy it. I did used to be a cop. I was born and raised in North Georgia mountains. If you're familiar with Somerville, Rome area, I know John's in the Rome area, so he's very familiar with that area. That's where I was born and raised. And I grew up hearing stories about Sasquatch. People have asked me over the course of the last couple of days here, what got you into the Sasquatch thing? Well, it was a combination of a lot of things. Growing up in the North Georgia mountains, I heard stories about it. Ginseng hunters getting scared off of the mountains with Sasquatch chasing them out. That was one of the stories I grew up with. I asked my mom, who's here with me, I said, hey, did you remember that story about these ginseng hunters? And she was like, no, I don't remember that, but I heard it when I was growing up. I did some research and I actually found the story. I read it on the show a couple of weeks back in one of the Storytime episodes that I did, because that's the story that got me interested in Bigfoot. 12 years old, we're living on a property. I'm out in the woods pretending to be a squirrel hunter at 12. I think I had a pellet rifle. I didn't have a 22 at the time, trying to kill a squirrel with a pellet rifle. But I thought I was the great white hunter out in the woods. And I would hear things that I couldn't explain, right? I'm 12 years old. I hear movement and things going on, but this one particular time, I hear this growl, grunt, huff, trees breaking, and I feel like I'm getting bluff charged. And it was with that, if you ever had an experience, how many of you guys have had an experience with Sasquatch? I should have asked that. Or what you believe to be an experience with Sasquatch. You get that feeling of, I'm not supposed to be here. I've got to be somewhere else. That's the kind of feeling I got. And I kind of chalked it up to, I'm 12 years old, I'm in the woods, something's out there I don't understand. But this thing kept bluff charging me just on the edge of the woods where I couldn't see it. And I'm hearing this growl, this huff. It wasn't a deer, it wasn't anything that I could wrap my 12-year-old brain around and say, yeah, that's what that is. So I listened, my fight or flight kicked in, and I'm 12 years old, I'm hitting the flight button, I'm out. I was pretty fast then, I'm pretty fast now. So if we ever go in the woods and something's after us, y'all probably gonna get 8 because I'm gonna leave you behind. But at 12, I was jumping the fence. And I never told my mom about it. I never told anybody about it because I didn't know what I experienced. I still don't know what it is to this day. I've never said it was a Bigfoot, never said it was a Sasquatch. I don't know. Do I believe that's what it was? Absolutely. With what I know now and the research that I've done and the people, the hundreds and thousands of people now that I've talked to, I believe that's what it was. So that was a weird experience. We lived in a very weird house, and I've been a guest on a lot of podcasts, and I did one last year, and somebody asked me, the guy who was doing the show asked me, we lived in a house that was haunted at the time. It was a very demonic kind of situation, some devil worship going on with the people that lived there before us. And the guy asked me, he's like, do you think it's possible that what you experienced in the woods was a demonic presence that may have chased you from the house into the woods? Could be, I don't know, I'm open to all of that stuff. But I believe it was more likely a Sasquatch. I was about 16, I guess. We'd moved into a different area. My mom and dad had divorced. We were living in a different area. And my mom actually was the other person involved in the next weird thing that I saw. And it was a UFO encounter. She'd gone out to grab something at the store. I was at home talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and my mom's coming in like, you got to come outside, you got to see this, you got to come outside. And I'm like, okay. So I hang up the phone, I go out, and we see this huge metallic craft just floating down out of the sky. No lights, no sound, no nothing. It's just floating. And we're just standing there in awe watching this stuff. And it just floats out of view and down behind the mountain, and we never saw it again. So 2 really weird experiences early on, and I was hooked with anything that was unknown. So I've kind of been on that path, but I chose to go in law enforcement. So I got into law enforcement, and you don't talk about that stuff generally as a law enforcement officer, right? A, you got a gun, and you got to go through a lot of psychological testing, and there's a lot of hurdles to jump through to become a cop. So once you get there, you don't come in and punch in for roll call and talk about Bigfoot and aliens and UFOs. So I suppressed that for a lot of years. And we moved out of Georgia. We bought property in Lenoir, North Carolina. If you're familiar with that area, it's up in Boone near Appalachian State. We bought 40 acres out there. It's very much like what you see out here. It's just expansive woods. There's probably 250 acres of nothing but woods around our property. And we moved onto the property full-time a couple of years ago. And we started having I started having weird experiences with sounds I couldn't explain. Again, with the sounds, right? I'm hearing these weird things in the woods that I've never been able to identify. And a lot of it's in the distance. John kind of talked about the difference in hearing something 50 feet away versus across the ridge, right? So I'm hearing something that sounds like an Ohio howl on the ridges behind us. I'm in the hot tub, it's late at night, we've had a glass of wine. I'm like, well, maybe I'm just exaggerating, right? I'm hearing things. We continue to hear it on multiple occasions throughout different times of the year. So, was it Bigfoot? I don't know. Sounds like an Ohio howl. That's all I know how to explain it. No, I didn't want to go out and look, to be honest with you. Because I had that same fear, that same feeling that I had when I was 12. Was like, I don't need to be in my own house at this point. I shouldn't be here because that, whatever that was, owns these woods. So, we've had other weird experiences. I posted, if you follow the show on Instagram or you're in the Sasquatch Odyssey Facebook group, you've seen some of the photos and the videos of what I believe to be tree structures, X formations, fulcrum type things all over the property, you know. And some of the things I didn't find on my own property. I filmed a television show for Vice last year, and they were out, they filmed this for about 10 days, and then they came back and did some pickups, and we were in the woods on my property, probably 400 yards from my house, in the woods, and the guy who's filming, the cameraman's like, hey, what's that area over there? And I'm like, that's kind of an interesting area. I've walked past it, I've looked. He's like, that looks like tree structures from here. So this guy leads me to where on my property, to what he believes to be tree structures, and we ended up filming some pretty interesting stuff that I can't explain. You know, trees woven into other trees, things that look like you gotta have thumbs and a brain that's bigger than the average bear to do. But again, I don't know what it is, you know. The most recent thing that happened on the property was literally probably 3 weeks ago. And I've talked to a couple of you guys about it already. I actually showed some pictures that are on my phone. I'm going to post those probably when I get back on Monday. I was walking my dogs in an area that I walk by 2 times a day on the property with my dogs. And there's this stump off to the right, and something like catches my eye that's white. Anything in the woods that's white just kind of stands out. It just doesn't make sense, right? So I'm walking and I look, and it catches my eye, and I walk over and I look, and there's a stump that's kind of hollowed out. It's an old stump. I think it's an old cedar tree. And I get closer to it, and there is a turtle shell, not that big. It's upside down, and it's stuck into the side of the stump. Like, you know, my cop brain says, well, the turtle probably got up there and somehow flipped over backwards and died right there on the stump, right? But it's completely bleached. It looks like it's been there for a while. Now, mind you, I walk this 2 times a day for the last 1.5 years. I've never seen that until that day. I could have missed it, could have been. but I didn't have the feeling it was there the day before. So, like, you know, I take some pictures, I take some video, I put it up on Instagram, and immediately you get that's Sasquatch put that there. I'm not so sure about that. So I get the idea. I've heard about gifting. You know, I'm not really necessarily into that kind of thing. I'm not necessarily a Bigfoot researcher. I collect stories. That's what I do. That's what the show was born from, and it's what it continues to be. But so I go over and I get the shell and I document. I think, well, if this is a possible gifting situation, like something left me a turtle shell, let me go get this cool rock. We have a little memorial for one of our dogs that died. It had a little rock that got love written on it, little paw. I'm like, that's interesting, right? Something it's smooth, it's different. I'll take that out and put it on the stump. Then somebody says, hey, well, have you considered an apple? Todd Standing uses apples, you should use apples. So I said, okay, I'll take an apple out of it. Well, I didn't want to just put the apple on the stump for it to fall off or maybe roll off or get lost or whatever. So I stick it on a stick, and then I stick it down into the stump next to the rock, and I put a trail cam from here to there on another tree facing. Now, of course, everybody tells me, don't put a camera up. If it's a gifting situation, the Bigfoot's not going to take it because they know the camera's there. Well, we can't prove that, can we, John? But I didn't want to be the guy to put this out there. I do a Bigfoot show, and I'm putting this out there. Now I'm not going to have documentation. If something happens, I'm putting the camera up. So I put the trail camera up. Go about our regular business. I walk the dogs the next morning, pull the SD card, take it in the house. Apple's still there, untouched, rock's still there. Look at the SD card. There's like 5 raccoons on the camera. They set it off like 20 times during the night. I go back the next day, put the SD card back, rocks, apples, nothing's touched, walk the dogs, come back, pull the SD card the following day, 3 more raccoons, apple's still there, rock's still there, nothing's been touched. 3rd day goes by, I'm like, well, maybe these folks telling me that they know the cameras are there are right, so I'm gonna go take the camera down. I go take the camera down, come walk the dogs the very next day. Guess what?
It's gone.
The apple is still there on the stick, but it looks like something has picked it up and taken a bite out of the apple. I don't know if anybody's here that I showed the pictures to on my phone this morning. Wayne is the first and only person that I texted it to. And I said, hey dude, I don't know what this is, but it looks like something took a bite out of the apple. Now, again, I can't stand here and say that it was a Bigfoot, but I guess, I don't know what would do that. I don't know if an ungulate would do it. I don't know if a deer would come by and somehow manage to do that without pulling it off the stick. Wayne, you saw the pictures. What did it look like to you, man?
It looks a lot like a human bite. Like a human took a big bite of an apple. That's what it looks like.
So I'm going to post the pictures on Monday and let people just say what they want to say. I'm not putting it out there as it was a Bigfoot. I certainly didn't bite the apple. The apple was nasty at this point. You can see in the pictures that it was moldy. I'm not going to go out there and take a bite to fake the evidence, right? Because I'm not in that game. I have a dog in that fight. But I'll put it out there to let people make up their own mind. So my point to that is we have things going on that I can't explain, right? And that's why I do what I do. People ask me that all the time. Why do you do this show? I started doing this show because I wanted to give people a space, particularly from the southeastern United States. That's where I was born and raised. That's what I was interested in. And I wanted people to have a place to come tell their story. I wanted to hear the stories, and I wanted other people to know that that's happening to people because it's an important thing. And it grew from there. I have had so many people from the southeast. I continue. The show that I just posted Friday was a lady from right here in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. If you haven't heard her show, you need to listen to some of her encounters. They were amazing. And I met her 2 years ago at the Bigfoot conference, and she didn't want to tell her stories then. It took her 2 years to reach out to me and have a conversation and me talk her into coming on the show because I knew what she had to share was powerful to people. And I bet you, I haven't had service for 2 days, but before I got here, I counted 25 emails that I got the day the show posted because people had very similar experiences in this area to what she was having on her property. So that's why I do the show. It is a job for me now. I was able to quit my full-time job and do this full-time. And very few people, Connor mentioned it earlier, very few people have the opportunity to do that. And that's because of the people who listen to the show. And I'm blessed to be able to do that and to come. I've said it a couple of times to many people. I've said it to Wayne a number of times. The best thing about what we're doing right now is the people that I have met. I have met lifetime friends over the last couple of years of doing the show. You know, people that I idolized. I used to see Jeff Meldrum on television, and now I can call him and have a conversation about what's going on in the Bigfoot community. Doug Hychek, who produced Monster Quest for years and takes a very scientific approach and does way more than most people ever know behind the scenes because he doesn't like to take credit, is a friend and a business partner. So I'm overwhelmed with how great the people in the community are. You guys coming up and telling me what the show means. And people call me and say that the show changes their life because they thought they were the only person that had an experience, that I had a person on the show that shared. That's why I do what I do. And I'm blessed to be around people that are like-minded and take a very scientific approach to something that means so much to me, because at the end of the day, I say it on the show all the time, I am looking for answers for myself. I'm not here to prove that Bigfoot's real. I don't care if you believe it's real or not. I know what I believe and what my convictions are, and that's what I want people who listen to the show to understand, and I want you to have that same experience when you listen to the show, because at the end of the day, we don't really know, but we're all searching for the same answers. So I don't really have a whole lot else to say other than that. So I don't know if anybody has questions. I'll be more than happy to answer questions, or I'd love to know if you guys have had experiences and you're willing to share them on the show. I would be honored to have you on the show to share your experiences. So I have cards. I'll be more than happy to pass those out. It's got my email. I answer those. But things have grown. I mean, the show's heard in almost 100 countries now. It's over 2 million downloads in the last few months. It continues to grow, but I answer every email. I answer every text message. If you've ever sent me an Instagram message, it's me that answers. I never get too big to answer that, because that's my connection to the people that come on the show. So, no questions?
Well, no, they're coming. You just deserve the applause too.
Oh, okay.
I got any questions for Brian? I've taken the time this weekend to come and hang out and listen to the speakers and all that stuff. I appreciate it, guys. I want everyone to please be safe. You leave here, have a good night, whatever you're doing tonight, but just please be safe. Pack up and go home tomorrow or whenever you're going home. Be safe, okay? Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you. Soup and cornbread, the final dinner at the campfire.
Hear the rustle.
Yeah. You already running.
Whatever it is, it's heavy.
Some will run. You're going to hear an apple or something being eaten.
Big Angie, the queen of the fortress.
What is it? Everybody loading up for the gunfight later?
Yeah.
Come over and show me anything they need beans here.
I gotta show my drinking buddy up close. Big man at campus. And Bobby, the legend.
Yeah.
Yes. And Jody, she got me here. And Brittany, the other legend. The sledges, man, they have marched through these mountains, got us ready for the year. And Boo, I didn't leave you out, bud. Yeah, you're a star, bud.
So I had to cut a lot of it out.
Love you.
I had to cut out a lot of it, just so I could
You should
put it on Messenger. Hold on, buddy.
And we find one of those big quartz rocks. Or is it quartz or limestone? Quartz.
Yeah, like a
The
quartz,
white,
yeah.
beautiful.
Big white
and
quartz
I'm like,
crystal.
oh, so I run over. It's in the middle of the woods, and I pick it up. It's a big rock, and I'm like, what is this? This is gorgeous. So he tells me, well, that's quartz, honey. And I'm like, okay.
That dog,
So I
that
put it
dog was
down.
wrong.
We start walking around looking, and then Mark
I showed Jody, Janie Grace's dog.
Kinchel comes in, And so we go over to where his campsite is, and
bought
we're helping him. And I started not feeling really good because I'd eaten some really greasy food when we got there.
Yeah.
And it was really hot, and I was like, I'm gonna go lay down.
Why did you want
He
that
was like,
demonic
okay.
doll? She does.
So I go down by the bathroom down this trail to get to where our campsite is. Nobody else in camp. Climb in the back of the truck, and I lay down for a while, and then I start feeling better. So he comes to check on me, and I was like, I'm feeling better. And he was like, okay. So then I said, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the bathroom.
Finish helping Mark. So.
I said, I'm gonna go up to the bathroom. I walk up the same exact path I had went down to come lay down, and right in front of the porta potty is laying a piece of.
Same rock.
No, it wasn't the same rock. It was smaller.
That's right, because I told you that one was too big.
Yeah, it was about this big, but it was laying right in the pathway.
Yeah.
Like I would have tripped over it when I went to.
Yeah.
And I was like, I started looking all around camp, and I'm like, there's no kids here that could have been playing with this rock and picked it up or threw it over here or something. Nobody else there, and I was like, so I grabbed it and I ran over to Bud, and I was like,
you called me on the phone, remember?
Oh, that's what it was.
Said, come here, you got to see this.
And I show him, and he was like, well, honey, maybe it was already there. And I was like, I'm telling you, I would have tripped over it. It was right in the path. And it was big enough. So I told him, I said, I think maybe they was watching, and they seen how fascinated I was by this.
Yeah, because when she seen it, we was the only ones there. And I remember her saying, man, this is beautiful.
So
I love
I'm like,
it.
I don't know if they
gave
one to me as a gift, but I took it as a gift. I took it as a gift, so I picked it up and I laid it outside our truck because I thought, well, if I'm not supposed to take it, maybe they'll come back and take it.
Yeah.
And when it was still there when we packed up to leave, I was like, then it was a gift. I'm taking it. So I still got it at home.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and another campsite that wasn't being used. We
I mean, I can't explain it, so
I had
you
her
never
get
know.
another quartz and write a note said hi, and then she put a big smiley face, and then we.
And I said, help yourself.
Help yourself.
And we left some different.
We left Snickers and.
And some different little toys and stuff.
Zagnut,
A little ball.
And that's cool. Yeah.
And a ball. Some.
It's like thank you for the gift.
Yeah, but they never did come mess with that.
Yeah.
But other people started coming into camp.
A lighted something. What was that lighted glow?
Little lighted glow flower or something. Yeah. Laying there for them.
And that was at the Uwharrie National Forest.
Right where that one guy filmed that Bigfoot reaching up and grabbing that Zagnut.
Yeah.
And Mark camped in the same exact camp that was filmed.
And he brought a case of Zagnut.
And yes, we tried to use Zagnut.
Yeah,
love it. Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh wow. Yeah, because we found some crystals today, Angie.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I got this one.
We actually gifted a really nice one. Yeah, to this dugout hole that we found.
We found some
when you go to a
pyrite,
campsite there, them rocks are everywhere all through. I mean, you can't look in the woods and not see one.
The whole mountainside.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's how it is in Blairsville too. And Blairsville's not very far from here.
This crystal to take home, this big quartz crystal.
Look how pretty
But this is over there where it's
like
dried
vanilla
up and
icing or
everything. We
something.
kind of got down onto the rocks and we were just looking at.
All over North Carolina is great.
Yeah, you can't walk in the woods without tripping
I mean, they're just laying all over the paths
Quartz
and
rock.
everything. Quartz rock.
Oh yeah, that's like what
I
brought some home
They're
from
as big as
Holland.
that fire ring.
That whole
All
mountain
the way
is
down to that
quartz.
size, you know.
I saw some of it. I don't know if I grabbed any.
I grabbed a piece.
Yeah, I think that's.
To do like the Hollins shout out when I started the speech.
Yep.
Loved it.
I went over and got another piece of cornbread.
Bud, can you explain it one more time?
It's going over.
It'll be all right. This here's what we call redneck heater.
Yeah.
The best way to do it is get you a small coffee can metal one and put one roll of toilet paper in it, take out the cardboard, and then use 70% alcohol. And this one here, as big as it's probably burned 6 hours. See how the alcohol goes into the toilet paper?
Mm-hmm.
It absorbs it.
The toilet paper won't burn, believe it or not.
And I could snag one of these rolls right out of a rest stop on my way.
Yeah. I mean, I used to get them at the Goodwill or, for $1 a piece. And for 4 to 6 hour burn, you can't beat it.
Wow.
That's hand sanitizer, right?
Yeah, 70%.
With 70% alcohol in it.
You always want 70%.
Yeah, so high alcohol content to burn.
Yeah.
No, give it a second. That toilet
Soak it
paper
in.
absorb every bit of that.
Wow.
If you can see right here, it's absorbing it.
Yeah, already.
Okay, give me that lighter over there, baby.
It's gonna be nice.
And with it being dark, you might be able to see the flames. Usually you can't see the flame. There we go. I bought me one of these today.
Did you get? Yeah, I love them things.
That's what I use to light my dabs.
Look at that.
Yeah, that should burn 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
So if you had one of them homemade grills, put over it and you
Cook with it,
yeah. And I paid $5 for this. I mean, a bag of charcoal costs $10 now.
This is the cheapest way to start a fire. Right here.
It will literally last.
No, I bought that tin at a thrift store, and I bought that toilet paper at thrift store.
You know what I'm gonna do?
Whenever we go thrifting, I'm always
I'm
looking
making
for
the
stuff to
trip
use.
to the store to buy some equipment.
Toilet paper.
Buy some equipment.
Bud is a survivor. He's got wood chips that he just uses a pencil sharpener during the day. He just puts sticks in it. Good ways to start fire. Different ways of flint, dipped in different things. He's very prepared. It's always cool to see us step up our game in different ways, and just being around him makes me a better survivalist. And here's the awesome beans, ham, soup. Really out of my range, but it was delicious. Cornbread was sweet. I hit the ibuprofens up last night. Antiseptic bandages. Bud had a really bad fall yesterday with all these wood blocks and dang near almost lost his finger. We were laughing about it too, didn't even know he was messed up.
I felt like
All right, now I've got ideas. Yeah,
I love that.
He was just on my arm. I was like, what is that?
I saw him stick.
You could
A walking stick with it.
Oh yeah, we found one in our stove over here, and killed it when we fired it up.
Oh.
Yeah. They're
really
peaceful
cool.
animals.
Yeah.
They're peaceful bugs, more or less.
Hey, you want us
They're
some
very
Coming back
rare.
to get me because he was just on my arm.
You know what they feel like.
Revenge for his partner.
We were helping.
They're really cool. Chocolate filled s'mores. Now he's down there. He's just super camoed.
Fire caterpillar, what they call a fire caterpillar. Can't watch your step for the other one where he's at. But there was two. There's one right there. The daddy long legs.
Oh, is there two of them?
One right there.
Oh, there he is.
And then the other one's right there. Oh yeah, right there.
Here, let's get this guy because he's moving. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. Oh, we might see him fight.
He's gonna be like, I'm out of here. Let's take that
Long
long.
leg.
And the other
And then the other one.
there. He's just chilling.
We see him interact.
Are they friends with each other? That one looks smaller.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That is crazy. It's real hot.
Get ready for bed. It's crazy to see how still this water is. They're controlling the flow with the dam. Wonder how that affects the fish. But it's crazy to see how hard and fast it was flowing. Now basically stagnant water. Be a good time to look for fossils and jewelry. It's so low right here. Wow. What a beautiful morning though. Shout out Squatch Cowboy, because this was our spot in the mornings. We'd hang out on the river. Much love, y'all. Beautiful location right here. It's a crazy rock wall. can just hear the power. Holy cow.
Yeah, this looks like one of the places in the movies where somebody's like going through a hard time and they're just looking off into the distance.
Yeah.
I stood down here and I thought this is like a good spot to think about life.
Yeah, definitely. Raging waters. That's so cool.
Beautiful too. It's like you rarely get to see something like this.
Right. It's like Niagara Falls, the Maids in the Mist. This is awesome. That's a way to cool off. Oh man, he's long. That is awesome. I can't wait to whitewater raft.
That'd be fun.
That would be.
Like you've been entering your ocean or your kayak.
Oh, he already flipped. Wow.
Beautiful. I thought it was like, we gotta check this out one time, you know?
Definitely, definitely. The Ocoee Scenic Byway. Truly, truly magical right here. We're driving on our way out in this giant lake, beautiful mountains, this really cool island right in the center. We just passed the marina. It's cool to see all the town coming together. But just a legendary weekend here in Tennessee. Doesn't get better than the mountains and the wind and the water. Reminds us of who we are. And all the colors on the trees. Imagine something all the way up top there, keeping an eye on us. I see you, mountain man. I know you see me. Hey, I'm Connor from Bigfoot Anon, and I'm always on the hunt for the next big adventure. When you're on the trail for long hours, you build up quite the stench, enough to drive any skunk ape or yeti away. Luckily, I'm on the quest now for the solution to all my problems. Yeti bars. They do exist. Available in tons of different scents and fragrances. Check out yetibars.net for more and use my code BA10 for a special offer. Clean like a beast. Yeti bars!